friend of the show, Bucky Brooks, in an homage to Brew, says the Cowboys are SBOB. McCarthy enters 2024 with a Super Bowl or bust mandate. The Cowboys' epic postseason failures have led to concerns about his ability to take America's team to the next level, despite his impressive resume and winning pedigree. Nick, hot seat?
Listen, and I hate to do this without Brew here. It feels like talking bad about someone behind their back. But this is why the SBOB thing is such nonsense.
What?
Because if the Dallas Cowboys, for the first time in 30 years, make the NFC Championship game and lose to anyone in that NFC Championship game, not only is Mike McCarthy not getting fired, his contract would be up, he will get a new contract. Yeah. Jerry Jones will throw a small, Dallas metro area parade for that. And so, now I do think the Cowboys need to get off to a good start. I think he can be on the hot seat, yes, but I also think a Super Bowl or bust is nonsense. There's a couple steps short of winning the Super Bowl that would be considered a great season. What can't happen is in week 1 on Fox with Tom Brady on the call, they lose to Cleveland. And then in week 3 on Fox with Tom Brady on the call with 20+ million watching both those games, they lose at home to Baltimore. And all of a sudden,
I can see that happening.
Of course.
Do you think that would be a bad loss, lose to Lamar?
No, what I think is I think the two most highly watched games of the first 3 weeks of the season will be the season opener.
Yeah.
And those two, and by the way, they're all Fox Tom Brady on the calls those first 3 weeks, but those are 4:25 Eastern premier games, week 1 and 3.
Also, just to add to your point, you can't lose to the Saints either.
Well, right, yeah, and so, but my point is, without those many eyeballs on the
you're right.
game,
I get it.
I just think it would, I think it will instantly put them on the early season.
Yep.
I think the sun would feel like an ice bath compared to McCarthy's seat. Like it's so ridiculous when you hear the comments from the owner where he's talking about, hey, we had a quarterback who could have been an MVP. We were healthy. Our streak at home. He listed 17 reasons why the Cowboys should have won the postseason, and then they lost. And there was vitriol in his voice. Then they hire a new defensive coordinator. They give him a 1-year contract. It's Mike Zimmer. This isn't like some unestablished guy from, Northwest South State that's first-time coordinating. This is a former head coach, really good defensive coordinator. He gets a 1-year contract, which it's unheard of in the NFL. So you add that component to it. It doesn't get any hotter. If they lose some early games here, it could easily transition quickly.
Mid-season?
I wouldn't rule it out. He's done it before.
Yeah, I don't see it being a mid-season change, but he's definitely on the hot seat. I'm with you though, Nick. I don't think it's SBOB at all.
It's look good in the playoffs or bust.
Yeah, absolutely. You get this team
It doesn't look
to the championship round, and I think everything is like, okay, we can all take a deep breath here. But he is definitely on the hot seat. No one cares about the 12 wins. It's about the playoffs. Like, you don't have your receiver in camp right now. Nobody's going to remember that when you're winning or losing games. If he's available, your quarterback isn't signed. To your point, I didn't even put that together. Mike Zimmer on a 1-year contract. Like, it's like I'm not giving anybody any type of extension.
I'm not going to spend any more money than I have to on this coaching staff. They may or may not be here. You got 1 year.
I'm just worried about the Cowboys' revamped offensive line, leaning on at least one rookie in week 1 against Myles Garrett. And then I'm worried about the Cowboys' defensive line, which last year couldn't stop the run. Mm-hmm. We saw that was their issue, was they were more, I don't want to say finesse, but they were great getting after the passer and those things in week 3 against the Ravens running attack. And I could just see 2 games on national TV with 25 million people watching where they look really bad. And
Cleveland's running attack.
Well, Cleveland's running. That's a good point, too. I was just thinking about different sides of the ball. But, yes, so, that's right now the biggest question marks on the Cowboys. And Jerry does react to public sentiment.
Yep.
And so I think it's bad luck for the Cowboys.
And he's angry.
Right.
He's angry going into the season.
I just think it's oddly bad luck for the Cowboys, the high profile of their early season games.
Yeah. But Jerry loves it probably.
But not if they get embarrassed.
Yeah.
People are talking. People are talking. San Francisco not healthy. Ayuk might be gone. Talking San Francisco Mack trucks, they're built to serve. News out of San Francisco. 49ers were supposed to have a joint practice with the Saints this week, but Shanahan canceled it because they didn't have enough healthy players. That's not good. And on the Ayuk front, Rappaport weighing in with a tweet today. The Steelers and the 49ers have a deal on a potential trade. Pittsburgh's in a good place with the Ayuk contract. If San Francisco gives the final sign-off, it's done. But hold on a second. The 49ers also have an offer out to Ayuk on a long-term deal for him to stay. He hasn't accepted. So to me, Nick, I'm not going to agree. It feels like I have a limitless timetable to offer you Ayuk the contract. He's like, yeah, you know what? We don't love what we're getting from the Steelers. Can you take another look at our own? I don't get what domino is going to fall there, but is it time for the 49ers fans to be concerned?
Well, yeah, it's definitely it's been a bad offseason. Now, it doesn't mean they're done. Doesn't mean, they can't compete. But aside from critical players suffering season-ending injury, all the bad things that can happen have happened. You've got the best player on your team is angry about his contract and has not shown up in Trent Williams. The second best player on your team suffered a soft tissue injury for a player who has a history of soft tissue injuries in Christian McCaffrey. Arguably, the third best player on your team, certainly somewhere from 3 to 7, in Brandon Ayuk, is not there and I don't think going to be there. You have a bunch of other guys injured. Your first-round pick has suffered 3 different injuries. 2 of your best defensive players, Hufanga and Greenlaw, who were injured at the end of last season, are not back yet. Now, you probably didn't expect, especially Greenlaw, tear Achilles in Super Bowl. You don't expect him back yet. Hufanga, you're hoping to get back soon. Oh, yeah, and your quarterback is cosplaying as a Hall of Famer at times, and it hasn't gone so well. So, for those things, it's not a great offseason. That's not being unfair. That's not picking on the Niners. That is just I think, sober reading of what the last couple months have been. So, yeah, I'd be a little concerned, Coach. A little.
There's a little bit of concern. What I like about this situation is the 49ers have put a deal forth, and they're trying to come to some terms with Ayuk. And really, Ayuk yesterday, right, tweeted it's either A or B, right, some sort of vague tweet. But, yeah, it is A or B now. And so if he really wants the 49ers, they've given him money that's comparable to what Pittsburgh has given him, then he's got an opportunity to stay. All the things that you cited, there's a lot of teams going through training camp right now who have had difficult situations, whether it's contract situations, injury situations. That's part of the process. And you go in with one plan and you adjust as you go. But to me, it's going to be interesting where the money comes in from San Francisco versus Pittsburgh once this all plays out and whether or not, he ends up staying.
Yeah, you got to be concerned. I wouldn't be terribly worried, but I'm definitely concerned because if Ayuk decides, pending where the money is, you know what? I want out.
Because I think he clearly wants out.
And that's the feeling I have, Nick, because if a player